Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Customer Service Manager Reacts. I am Joe, and I am the Customer Service Manager. I've been in customer service for over 17 years. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to a phone video of some people trying to go into a Trader Joe's without masks. I just spent some time looking up some information, and I'll go over that here related to some of the rules that apply in Oregon and then some of the ADA rules that apply nationally to get some perspective on why businesses are allowed to stop people from entering their buildings or from shopping there and not serving them if they are not wearing masks. And I'll go over that, at least for the Oregon case, a little bit more in depth than I would in other videos and more than I have in the past in my previous COVID video.
How's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
Good. Having a good day?
Yeah, how about you?
Good. I know what
The audio is not great in this, so bear with it.
you guys are here. I know you guys
We're here to shop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally understand.
Peacefully shop.
Totally
Just,
fine. I have
household groceries.
no problem with you guys want to shop. No problem if you guys just want to grab your groceries. Let's have a good
Okay.
conversation with everybody.
Oh, good.
Maintain their distance, be polite and respectful, and respect other people's rights, because we don't want special treatment. We just want to be honored as
Yeah.
shoppers.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand all that, truly.
Thank you.
And like I was
They want to be honored as shoppers. I don't understand what that means.
telling your friends over there, I don't want to tell you guys what to think, what to do, what to believe, anything like
Yeah,
that.
we honor that.
I would ask kindly that you guys understand here at TJ's and what we're doing, we're just trying to work, make a living.
Hey, I get
The
it.
difference you
Absolutely.
guys are trying to make isn't going to be made with us. It can be
We're
made
just
at-
shopping.
with your government.
Well, no. We're
No, I
just
understand
shopping.
that. I'm not talking about the shopping. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about
That
what
is
you guys
true. You're right.
totally understand that.
We're
We
trying
just
to do
have
that.
I am not here to debate policy, or I totally
Exactly.
respect your freedom to think whatever you guys want to think.
Okay.
By all means, truly, I
Great.
believe that.
We're demonstrating to that.
And you have
guys
every
are-
Actually,
right.
we're not demonstrating. We're buying groceries. That's why I'm here.
All I'm saying is
See, the guy said we're demonstrating, which is exactly what they're doing, and she's like, we're not demonstrating. We're just shopping.
my responsibility as a manager of the store
Yeah.
is to enforce a mandate, whether you guys believe in that
But
mandate or
it's
law.
not a law.
No, I
You
understand.
can't enforce non-law.
The mandate, the executive orders that I've been reading through a bunch of executive orders from Kate Brown here in Oregon, and it's exceptionally complicated to actually go through all of the executive orders. I'll show here soon, or I might put it in right now. There are tons of them. They refer to each other, so you have to read through multiple ones to understand what the other ones are referring to, because it'll just say, I'm extending the executive order from last week. And so now an executive order I looked up as well, and it's actually really difficult to find the law on the different powers that the governor has to enact executive orders. And what it seems like is that the executive order is not a law, but that doesn't mean that the businesses and individuals don't have incentives and consequences for abiding by the executive order. So we'll go over a little bit of that, but she also said something about, let's listen to her say it.
A law.
No, I
You
understand.
can't enforce non-law.
You can't enforce non-law. What is a non-law? Anything that's not a law is not a law, but there's no. You can't enforce non-law. You can enforce all sorts of things as a private business, but there is some tricky stuff about discrimination. So we'll talk about that too.
No, you can't. That's you cannot deny somebody the right to commerce. Okay, I'm sorry.
We're not,
I
we're
know,
not, we're
I know you.
Oh, wait a minute. So they're going now. Wait a minute, but you're letting them in.
Yes, they have a mask. I'm just.
Oh, whoa. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
I'm just asking
No,
you
no,
to
no, no.
kindly have a conversation.
But you let those people in.
Yes,
All we want to
I'm
do
just
is
trying to
shop.
have a conversation with you. And I'm just
But
asking that
we
you
can
show me
do that
same courtesy.
inside. We can do that inside.
I'd prefer to have it outside.
No. We need to shop. No, we need to shop. So either we
We're
go.
well within our rights. to
No,
stop.
you're not.
Yes, we are.
You are a place of public.
I do
accommodation,
understand what that is.
you can be privately owned, but if you have shopping hours, then we have a right to come in. No, that's not true. You're violating Oregon statute. Your policy. No, we're not leaving. No.
Okay, so she's saying that they're violating Oregon statutes. She doesn't say which statutes. I don't know what she's talking about. And he's saying, well, we're abiding by the mandate. So let's look at what the mandate actually looks like. So let me get the video on that. This is the Office of the Governor of Office of the Governor, State of Oregon, which is Kate Brown at the moment. So we'll just read this part real quick. This was March 24th, 2020. Prohibit the operation of any other retail business not subject to paragraph 2 of this executive order unless the business designates an employee or officer to establish, implement, and enforce social distancing policies consistent with the guidance from the Oregon Health Authority. The Oregon Health Authority says a lot of things and has different definitions for things. So statewide reopening guidance, masks, face coverings, face shields, doesn't apply to certain things. Business means an individual, organization, or entity engaged in commercial, industrial, professional activities. Face coverings, they go over what that means. Following are not face coverings. And so, enforcement, to the extent this guidance requires compliance with certain provisions, it is enforceable as specified in Executive Order number 2066. So one executive order tells me to go to the Oregon Health Authority to look at what the guidelines are, and then the Oregon Health Authority is like, well, the enforcement was in another one. So here is the other, this is a much more recent Executive Order 2066, which has enforcement. This says this executive order, the risk level metrics, any guidance may be enforced as permitted under this, including but not limited to enforcement via civil penalties as provided in that statute, which has a statutory maximum fine of $500 per day per violation. So essentially what it seems like is an executive order allows the governor to utilize the I would assume state police force to cite companies and businesses and groups and anyone who violates the executive order, so they can fine them. So while they may not go to jail because it's not the same kind of criminal law or like the same type of crime that would make you go to jail, it is a civil issue. And so they can fine the company or the group or whatever it is that is not abiding by the mandate, is subject to penalties described in another Oregon statute. So in particular, that a person knowingly violating this executive order shall, upon conviction thereof, be guilty of a Class C misdemeanor, which is punishable by up to 30 days in jail or a fine of $1,250 or both. So that is actually creating a misdemeanor crime, which you can go to jail for, not a ton of time. And I doubt a lot of people have done that. So we've got the superintendent of Oregon State Police to coordinate with law enforcement agencies throughout the state to enforce directives under the executive order. It is my expectation that the enforcement agencies will primarily focus on referral to civil enforcement authorities and will reserve criminal citations for willful and flagrant violations of this order. So they're like a business is just like, no, come in, don't wear masks, touch each other, and kiss in front of me. That's kind of more flagrant. So that is some of the reason why companies like Trader Joe's and almost every business in Oregon is abiding by the mandate, because there are consequences and because the mandate doesn't violate the ADA, which I will go over. I just found this website, and I found other websites that seem to agree with this. With regard to the masks, generally the ADA prohibits places of public accommodation having restrictions that would limit access to an individual with a disability. However, the ADA does allow the restrictions where an individual would pose a direct threat to the health or safety of others. Most of what I've read related to the ADA is that the businesses are required to make reasonable accommodations to balance the desires of the business and the ADA, and of course the people who want to shop. So those reasonable accommodations exist, which is curbside online ordering, which allows people to get things shipped. So while it isn't a law, it might as well be a law. It's definitely something that becomes a criminal issue when the law enforcement starts to abide by these things or enforce them. So anyway, I wanted to go over that. Let's watch more of this video here and see what else happens here.
I'm
No.
just letting people out.
So
Can I just set aside so people
okay,
can leave the grocery store?
so let the people out. Let the people out.
Do you mind just talking? We were having a really good conversation. I felt like we were getting a good place.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to stop your
Yes, you are.
demonstration.
We're not demonstrating. I need to buy groceries.
With all due respect, and we have options for you.
No,
to get
you do
groceries.
not, because I don't know what I want until I go in and see it.
I'm sorry.
That's ridiculous. If you've shopped as an adult, you know generally what you need to eat. You have we have this wonderful luxury of just going in and picking whatever we want. But the idea that you couldn't possibly come up with a list of things that you might want to eat is just wrong, and she's just making that up.
And that's the case.
No. The Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act protects me. Protects me to go in and shop like everybody
With all
else.
due respect, you're manipulating that concept.
I am not.
Yes, you are.
How dare you tell me I'm
sorry.
manipulating
I'm
a
sorry.
law?
There is a fine line between religious freedom to practice
Well,
and
you know,
We have a right to be here, folks.
we are
We
going.
have
Yeah, they're definitely not demonstrating at all. And the federal discrimination laws are related to like religion and sex and disability and race, and so they're not discriminating based on anything other than the fact that they can get into a lot of trouble by the government, who is very powerful. I'm not entirely sure why they don't just call the police, because it seems at this point that those people are harassing, loitering, probably trespassing if they wanted to. Not that they necessarily have to do that. It seems like something they could do to get the police there, especially when the lady's trying to push her way in, and he's having to get close enough. You might want to get police involved. They may already be somewhere around here. I don't know.
right to equal accommodations.
Okay, hold on.
I mean, this is a really good conversation.
I know,
Like,
so-
Listen, okay, but here's the deal. We're
do
not.
you expect to make a difference here,
we-
or can we just like
Are you blocking our
absolutely
No.
as soon as I can have a conversation with
Are
somebody?
you blocking our entry, sir?
Yes, I am, sir. Absolutely. I am blocking it.
So
You're now blocking our entry. Don't block anybody coming out.
I'll tell you what.
But we do
At
have
this
a right
point,
to
you
be
guys
here.
obviously don't want to have a conversation with me. I'm gonna have to ask you guys.
We have a right to be here.
Oh, there we go. So now he's like, this is not getting anywhere, so I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. That makes sense.
We have a right to equal accommodations.
I need to shop.
People have
So your
disabilities.
career,
Yes.
perfect. And John
There are exemptions to the rules.
and Jeff.
Help you out. As soon as I can get everybody out of here, I can
No
help you.
vote,
I promise.
no law.
He's here to
No
know.
vote,
We're all here to help
no
you.
law.
I'm a
We have a
little
right to
outnumbered.
equal accommodations.
I think the guy's saying no vote, no law, but many laws are not voted upon, as far as I know. I mean, maybe they are, but some laws and different things are done legislatively and ratified differently than just from votes.
According to the Oregon Constitution,
Government or your customers.
according to the Constitution, we have rights.
Where does
This is America.
Okay, all right. Disturbing the
comes
peace.
from us?
Disturbing the peace. I know. We just stand
We
here.
pay
We
you
just
to
stand
keep your
here.
lives.
We just stand here until we get to shop because that's our goal here is to shop.
It's not gonna happen, unfortunately. I wish we could have come to some resolution, but
Well, I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to let anyone else in because we're
Right,
standing here.
that's pretty much the only resolution. Is either we get to shop like free American citizens, right, without being forced to wear this mask.
What's really frustrating is the idea that they're citing freedoms, but they're not interested in freedom. They're interested in control and power to do what they want and to make a statement. And this business, who should also be free, who if it's a private group, if Trader Joe's is a private company and the property that they're on is owned privately, then they should afford that business the same rights that they wish to have, along with the people who are involved. Like, these people believe, maybe they don't believe in the mandate, but they're abiding by it for the sake of their livelihoods. And why should they not be free to do that? It's just hypocritical to talk about freedoms and then like, if this was a government institute, it would be a different conversation. But they probably wouldn't have even any leg to stand on because there would already be, some government enforcement agency available to them. Because the government, is going to be able to just say, well, this is the way it is. But they think because it's a private establishment, they have the right to just encroach on that establishment without being, without abiding by the policies of the business.
Right, which is not a law. Okay, we all agree that it's not a law, right?
You want me to buy something
And
for
so
you?
therefore,
we're following the same
Oh,
thing.
no, thank you.
Right,
That's
I
what
understand
want.
that.
That's the whole point of me.
that mandate is unconstitutional. We know that.
We're-
It's unconstitutional.
Right, but we don't want, anybody else, we should be able to shop here. So that's why we're going to wait and wait. He needs to stop.
You're not
Yes.
leaving here.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Can you go talk to him?
That's all right. Let him shut the door.
The person with the
We can't have any conversations.
Otherwise, the
It's
police
disheartening. It's really disheartening. It's disheartening that people can't just talk to one another, and you guys gotta, like, what she did last time, when she put my boy on blast like that, it's not cool. He's just a good, honest working man.
Wait a minute. I didn't do anything. I did not do anything. I offered
I had
to
a
buy
very nice
my...
conversation with one of your friends. Unfortunately,
I don't have any friends up here.
your group, whatever.
I'm not a group. Listen, you're not, so you're violating the laws of Oregon.
However you feel.
However I feel.
If they're violating the laws of Oregon, then call the police. That's exactly that's how laws work.
Well, then nobody can come in and shop. I guess.
It's just silly. It's just, you don't have a leg to stand on, and the evidence for that is the fact that you aren't in that store and there's no cops around. Like, you're either going to fight them, and then what? You're going to fight the person at the register and punch them in the face and give them money and then expect to have your card run. Commerce is free commerce, or free markets are a cooperative event. It requires negotiation in a way that is beneficial to both people, or else it's just you forcing your way.
No, we're not going to get out of the way. Yes, we can, because you need to let us in.
So you don't mind violating our rights?
Do I have what? Oh, you don't need a medical card. You don't. Yeah, because you don't need a medical card. Well, everybody is considered disabled because this virus is being pinned on everyone.
That actually is almost the case. She says everyone is disabled because the virus is being pinned on everyone. It's an exaggeration, but it is the case that because it's very difficult to tell who has the virus, that these precautions are being made, and it is almost like everyone could be a carrier. So it does make everything a bit global.
Whether you have it or not. So you are actually protected under the ADA because they assume that you have the virus. And that is...
I don't think the ADA I mean, if you have the virus, you're not disabled. It's like if you have the flu, you're not a disabled person. That doesn't count.
It's wrong.
I guess if you become disabled because of it, then you become disabled. That's an issue.
Well, it's
Yeah,
hard.
just so you know, man, so you guys understand, we're not going to rush the bill. We're not going to do that, right? We just are asking for, I'm telling you that.
His demeanor doesn't tell me that.
Right, right.
Doesn't tell me that.
Yes, ma'am,
Sorry.
let this woman out.
Hi. Have a nice day.
Why? Because you don't.
Okay. All right. Go to the back. Hey, we need people to go to the back. Go to the back. We need people to go to the back. They're letting people in through the back, so we need some people.
I just don't understand what their end goal here is. They're trying to, like, they're not using force, but they're pretending like they're going to use force. Like, go to the back and sneak in, and then what? And then they're going to serve you, and then you can just run around and grab stuff and put it in your cart, and then you've won?
Go to the back. Well, somebody needs to go back to the back. All right, and then we need people to stay in the front.
Because they're not an organized demonstration that she is now directing people to go to the back.
So now Trader Joe's in Salem is telling people to go around to the back of the store so they can go in and shop. And they won't let us shop. So they're trying to get us to leave. We have people going to the back of the store.
We're not impeding nobody's freedom.
We're going to have people at the back of the store so that we can go shopping. Yep. So we are abiding the law. We're standing here waiting.
So that's the video. I had to use this, other person's upload of it. I couldn't find the original video on its own. But I think what's frustrating is the mob issue. It's like you think that because a bunch of you think it's okay to do what you're doing, that makes it right. And they're not willing to get a lawyer or to get a police officer involved. So because they know that it's not going to work, because I'm guessing most of them individually have run into conflicts at stores. So they decided to, as a group, which they must have organized somewhere, on Facebook or something, like, hey, let's all go and make this business, who's a private business, who has already probably suffered in some way due to COVID. Not that we should care that much about the prosperity of any individual business that can't, make it in a competitive world. This is a case that's very stressful to the people who are working, who have other things to do. They aren't interested in standing out the door, trying to have non-productive conversations with people who don't want to cooperate and who don't see that it's not like the business is excited about limiting the amount of people that come in their store, or they're just abiding by the executive order, the mandate that the government is putting in place. And they could not do that. They could say, screw it, let's just let everybody in and see what happens. And they don't want to do that because businesses want to stay in business and they don't want to get fines that they don't want to have to pay. So they follow the rules. And if you don't like that rule, then there's got to be some way to express your grievance. And you can contact Governor Kate Brown and tell her to rescind and come up with some good arguments or something like that to have her change her mind on the subject. And as soon as a vaccine comes about that is successful, I'm sure that things will change and businesses will adapt. And that I even after doing some cursory research, I found at least some information that's helpful here. But I don't know that much about it. But I do know that companies have policies, and as an employee, I have to try to enforce those policies if I want to stay working there. It actually got me a little bit stressed watching the video here, just because I've had confrontations with people who want to argue about certain things and call you someone who's discriminating against them. All right. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe. Put your comments down in the bottom. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put those down there too. Go to joesnotesblog.com to check out my other stuff. I write, and I also do photography, and there are other things on that website that you might like. Check it out. And remember, the customer isn't always right, but neither are you. Some of the masks are, it's just somebody made a mask out of some piece of underwear or something.